In the outskirts of Busan, where the sea fog often crawled through narrow streets and neon signs flickered even in daylight, there stood a small antique shop that locals avoided without ever fully explaining why. The wooden sign above it was half rotted, the paint peeled away by years of rain and salt air, leaving only faint letters that read, "Old Things and Memories." People in the area whispered that the shop didn't simply sell old items, it sold things that no longer belonged anywhere else. Inside worked a young woman named Hana. She was practical, quiet, and didn't believe in superstition. Ghost stories, curses, haunted objects, she dismissed them all as ways for people to explain what they didn't understand. Life had already taught her enough hardship, her father's illness, the rising hospital bills, and the constant pressure of survival. Belief in the supernatural felt like a luxury she couldn't afford. One evening, during a heavy rainstorm, a delivery truck stopped briefly outside the shop. The driver didn't speak much. He placed a small cardboard box at the entrance, refused to step inside, and left without waiting for confirmation. Hana noticed his hands were shaking. The box had no sender information, no company label, nothing except a small handwritten note taped on top that read, "Do not open when alone." Hana stared at it for a moment, then scoffed softly. Superstitious nonsense, she thought. She carried it inside, placed it on the counter, and opened it immediately. Inside was a doll. It was a Labubu figure, but something about it felt wrong from the moment she saw it. The fur wasn't bright or playful like the ones she'd seen in advertisements. It was a dull gray, almost ash-colored, as if it had been soaked in smoke. Its eyes were too large and glossy, reflecting the dim shop lights in a way that made them seem wet. Its wide signature grin, normally mischievous in design, looked stretched too far, frozen in a shape that didn't feel natural. The teeth inside that smile were uneven and slightly sharp, like they didn't belong to a toy at all. Despite the discomfort rising in her chest, Hana lifted it carefully. It was lighter than expected, almost unnaturally so, like holding something hollow. She placed it on a shelf behind the counter and tried to ignore the strange feeling it left behind. The storm outside grew louder, rain striking the windows in irregular rhythms. Eventually, she closed the shop and retreated to the small room at the back where she slept. That night, she dreamed of laughter. Not warm laughter, not playful laughter, but something broken and layered, like multiple voices overlapping in a confined space. In the dream, she was standing inside the shop, though everything looked stretched and distorted. The shelves seemed taller, the shadows deeper, and the air heavier, as if the room was slowly filling with something unseen. The doll was on the counter, but it was no longer small. It had grown to the size of a child. It sat perfectly still, watching her. Then, slowly, its head tilted to one side. The smile widened slightly, creaking at the edges like fabric being pulled too tight. The teeth inside that smile were uneven and slightly sharp, like they didn't belong to a toy at all. Hana woke up suddenly, breath caught in her throat. The room was silent, except for the faint ticking of an old clock. She tried to calm herself, blaming fatigue and stress. But then she heard it. A faint scratching sound came from the direction of the shop floor. She froze. It stopped, then started again. Slow, deliberate, like something dragging itself across wood. Hana grabbed a small flashlight and stepped out of the back room. The shop was dark, the shelves casting long shadows. The beam of light moved carefully across the space, revealing nothing out of place at first. Then she realized the shelf where she had placed the doll was empty. Her stomach tightened. She checked behind the counter, under tables, even near the entrance. Nothing. The doll had vanished completely. After a long search, exhaustion and confusion convinced her it must have fallen or been misplaced. She locked the shop again, double-checked the doors, and returned to bed. But sleep did not come easily. Just as she was drifting off, she heard something again. This time, it wasn't scratching, it was laughter. Soft, distant, coming from inside the walls. The next morning, the doll was back. It sat neatly on the counter, facing the entrance as if it had never moved at all. Hana stared at it for a long time without blinking. Her rational mind tried to find explanations. Maybe she'd been sleep-deprived, maybe she hadn't noticed where she placed it. But deep down, something didn't accept those answers. That's when she noticed a faint scratch mark on the wooden counter near it. Fresh, thin, like something had pulled itself up using the edge. She didn't touch the doll again. By midday, customers started coming in. At first, everything seemed normal, but slowly, subtle complaints began to appear. People said they felt uneasy near the counter. Some mentioned headaches. Others said they felt like they were being watched, even when Hana was clearly the only person in the room. An older woman entered and stopped abruptly near the door. She refused to come further inside. When Hana asked if she needed help, the woman pointed shakily towards the counter and whispered that something there was smiling wrong. Hana followed her gaze. The doll sat motionless, smiling as always. But for a brief second, she could have sworn its head was angled slightly differently than before. The woman left quickly without buying anything. Later that day, a mother came in with her young son. The boy immediately noticed the doll and ran towards the counter excited. Before he could reach it, Hana stopped him. "Don't touch that one," she said firmly. The boy frowned. "Why?" Before Hana could respond, the doll's head shifted slightly, not enough for anyone else to notice, but enough for Hana to feel her breath tighten. The boy suddenly goes quiet. His eyes stayed fixed on the doll. Then he whispered, "It blinked at me." The mother laughed nervously, apologizing, and pulled him away. But as they left the shop, the boy started crying uncontrollably, saying someone was whispering his name from behind him. That night, Hana checked the security footage. At first, everything looked normal. Empty shop, still air, dim lighting, but at exactly 3:13 a.m., the screen flickered. Static filled the display for a few seconds. When the image returned, the doll was no longer on the shelf. It was on the floor, dragging itself forward, slowly, towards the back room. Hana stared at the screen, unable to process what she was seeing. The footage glitched again, then cut out completely. At that exact moment, a loud thud echoed from inside the shop in real life. She sat up instantly. Another sound followed. Thud. Then silence. Then slow footsteps, coming closer, right outside her door. And then came the laugh again. Soft, close, almost right next to her ear. Hana didn't move. Neither did whatever was on the other side. Only the silence between them grew heavier, as if something was waiting for her to respond first.